a lot of people have experienced this in many ways. Some people experience it in the place of work, where they have to conform to a certain culture. Let's say you get a new job, and everyone at that job is comfortable at performing at a certain level, or there's a culture of complaining and talking bad about management. And if you don't join in that conversation of just slacking off and not bad mouthing management, then you're kind of tagged as the black sheep, and they make it very difficult for you to do your work there. They harass you, they stand over your shoulders to see what you're doing. They say, oh, you're not welcome here, that's why no one likes you. They might get either overly aggressive or passive aggressive. Oh, we've never had a, insert quote here, oh, we've never had a black person before ever in the history of this class. Or they'll make certain remarks, and then everybody turns to see your reaction, like, oh my god, isn't that country blah 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 a third world country? How do you guys even survive there? And everybody turns to look at you to see your reaction. If any of these I have described fits you, it could be at work, it could be at church, it could be at any place where you have like a community experience with other people, where you're constantly maligned and made to feel like the outsider, then this video is for you. What I'm actively discussing here is what techniques from a spiritual aspect can you use to, one, prevent these people from basically picking on you because you're different, two, to stop draining your energy. Like, they always want to be in this low vibe energy where everyone is constantly complaining about someone. I remember getting a job in one place, and the person would say to me, they did so and so, they did so and so. And the incident he was describing happened 10 years prior to my employment there. The management he's speaking about don't work there anymore, but he was telling me, though, they said they did this, they did that, kind of like we against the management. I'm like, who's they? And he looked at me like, who is they? Because the manager we had got hired right after I got hired, so there was really no they is just a hypothetical unforeseen enemy that everybody has to come together in solidarity against. And if you're the odd one out, that you're gonna find that they will use you as the next they. The members of that company or job or establishment will look for the next day. They'll look for the one that sticks out. They'll look for the dark-skinned person. They'll look for the person that doesn't speak their language. They'll look for the poorest one among them. They'll look for the one who's oldest among them, to make the scapegoat of that environment, so that they can have something to be against you, so that they can form a unit. Or they poke at you to get an emotional reaction out of you. They'll say things like, why can't the management of this hospital just get it together and get us new beds? This place is a third world hospital. And they'll turn and look at me. I said, this is a third world hospital, and everyone in the room turns and looks at me. And I have no reaction to give them. Why? Because I never worked in a hospital in the third world, so I don't know. Oh, this place is starting to look like a third world hospital. And they'll turn and look at me. Workplace harassment is real. People are going through it every day. And I think with COVID, a lot of those bullying kind of went down a little bit, because people had to be present for you to bully them, right? But now that we're going back to work, you're finding that they're happy again. Their usual targets are back. They can't wait to isolate you, to make themselves feel special again. So what do? I have 2 or 3 techniques. They are meditation techniques, because we do spirituality over here. I could say things like, go to management. I could say things like, which you should, because that is workplace bullying. I should think things like, call the department of so and so. I highly encourage you to do that, but I also encourage you to do this. Now, the first technique I'm going to describe is called a grounding and energizing technique. Now, this technique is used by most psychics as a way to get rid of those feelings of anxiety and those thoughts that keep going round and round and round, and you don't know how to get rid of them, and you're also feeling drained because of what's going on in your environment. So this meditation techniques works like this. You take in deep belly breaths. I'm realizing as I'm saying this that many of us don't even breathe correctly. We breathe into our chest and pull our stomach in, because we all want to have that flat stomach. So we think if we tense our stomach all the time, we'll always have a flat stomach. But what you're doing is preventing yourself from breathing and releasing and letting go of stuck energies. So what I would suggest is, I would highly recommend, is that you let go of your stomach, and you want to breathe in such a way that your stomach goes out with the in breath and in. The reason you want to do it like that is when you do relax your stomach, you automatically breathe in. You don't have to focus on breathing in. Your stomach, once your stomach pulls your diaphragm out and away, you take in the breath in more passively. So the only effort becomes just pushing your abdomen in to get the air out. I'll repeat. You want to breathe in such a way that your abdomen pushes outward. Many of us breathe in the reverse, and we're not even aware that we're not breathing correctly, and we can't relax correctly because basic breathing we don't do. And it's not our fault. We just want to have a flat stomach. Who doesn't want to have a flat stomach? Or we carry our tension in the abdomen. So you want to breathe in with your stomach out, and then push your stomach in and let the air go, and relax and let your stomach expand on its own, and you'll find yourself breathing in. You want to do these belly breaths at least 3 times. Some even recommend 8 times. And if you are the type of person that even after doing this you still can't relax, I want you to close one nostril. This is if you're watching me, I am to your left, right? So this is my nostril. I will turn my head in the opposite direction. No, sorry, I'll do that again. I'm trying to get the cameras like this one. This is a yogic breathing technique that helps people that have difficulty with letting things go, and it will prevent dizziness. Like if you're the type that breathe in and out and you feel dizzy, confining it to one nostril and turning your head will also minimize dizziness. So I think you should try that in the safety of your home, not in the car, not when you're driving, not when you should be actively concentrating on something, because this will actually put you into a meditative state. Okay, now after you are done this and you are now in a relaxed state, you want to visualize using your imagination. The imagination they told you to grow up and throw away. Yeah, I want you to go back and pick up that imagination, because it is useful. It's a very useful tool, and it's actually crime to tell children to throw away their imagination, because now we have people that are struggling with their creativity because their imagination is shut down. So you want to use your imagination and imagine a giant, heavy box with a very much like a treasure chest with a heavy box, right? And I want you to imagine all your thoughts floating like pictures, like in the movies, floating into that heavy box. What he said, what she said, what he did, what she did, what this did, what that did. Imagine everything going into the box, and imagine that heavy lid shutting on there. Once that lid is shut, our next step is to get neutral energy from the earth. This is called grounding. There are many ways to ground, but in this technique we'll be using our imagination to ground. I want you to imagine yourself as you're in that sitting position, that you're a tree, and then your roots are going straight from your spine, the end part of your spine, your tailbone, down into the earth. I want you to make that root as wide as possible. Some of you might stand out, you might imagine it's a rope, you might imagine it's a tube, or you can imagine it's actually tree roots going down all the way to the center of the earth. Now, if you're new to doing this, it might take you about 2 to 3 to 5 minutes to get to the center of the earth. It might take you right away. There is no rush. Just move at your own speed and make sure that you are at the center of the earth. Now, you're probably asking, what does the center of the earth look like? It will look like whatever you think it should look like. Just ask yourself, if I could see the middle of the earth, the very center, what would it look like? And just wait and see what shows up. Once you have done that, I want you to then imagine that you are releasing every negative, every adverse chemical reaction that has come as a result of, those words people speak to you. They are actually intended to do something to you. Words are weapons. You might say, oh, I was just joking, I was just kidding. But the fact that you have an emotional, psychological, and chemical response to words show that words can actually be lethal. And people should be held a little more accountable for what they're saying to others. It's not a joke if the person you are making a joke to or about is not laughing with you. You should apologize promptly. But those words, just imagine them and how you felt and what happened in that moment. Imagine them going down into the center of the earth, and imagine the earth like a giant incinerator, just pulverizing those images. Now, I want you to go to a different part of the earth and get neutral energy. The earth energy is very, very powerful. So I think you should set the intention to get 5 to 10%. Try 10%. If it feels too heavy, like something very dense is coming, you can drop it and try again at 5%. Take in a little bit of that energy. Imagine it swirling around at the bottom of your spine and swirling all the way up to your head through the front channel like this. Imagine it going to the top of your head right there and going all the way to the back, to the spine, to your root. Then you want to go to your crown. Imagine 3 to 5 feet above your crown, and imagine a very bright white light coming all the way down from your crown to the top of your head, down from the back channel to the back of your head, all the way to your root, and coming back up, mixing with the earth energy and coming up this way. Now, if you're a mom and you're always feeling drained and tired, this is a very useful technique, and you'll find that you'll feel, balanced and energized right away. And many of you might not even need coffee after this if you enjoy doing it and you feel like it's right for you. Feel free to adjust the percentages. These are not there is no rule, no law that says it has to be 5%, it has to be 10%. Just keep mixing it up and trying in your own different way till you get what works for you. Now, when you're done with this, I want you to imagine that you create a bubble around you, a bubble of energy. Now that you have flushed out the energy of what the environment is putting on you, I want you to imagine that you're in a bubble, a clear bubble. That bubble is made of like very hard pexi. It's not a bubble that someone can just pop. And when you see that bubble, I want you to imagine that bubble all around you, 3 feet around you, 3 to 5 feet around you in a sphere. Make sure it's tucked into your cord, meaning that the circular part of the bubble is going to be attached to your grounding cord. And when you do that, I want you to imagine a separation object. This is the key right here. Imagine a separation object. It could be a rose. It could be some people like to use an aggressive animal. The downside to that is your energy will be like aggressive all day, so that people that even want to come to you can't come to you, because yeah. You might want to keep that one in mind in case there are certain environments where that is necessary. But just bear in mind that you also would like the bubble to be permeable to what you want, which is blessings, money. If you want credit for your work, you want to be able to come through that bubble. You want laughter and joy and friends and people that resonate with you to come through that bubble. Anything that is not at that vibration should be on the other side of the bubble, at the other side of your separation object. I like to use a rose because the rose is love. But if you are rough and grab the rose wherever you want, you'll get poked, you'll get thorns, which is why I prefer a separation rose. So do that. Another technique is to imagine that you are the yolk of an egg. You are the yolk of an egg. Imagine yourself, you are in the center of that egg, and the shell is all around you. That's another way to protect your energy and make sure that you are not walking into places and picking up their negative energy. You know, you walk into a place and everybody's complaining, everybody's bitter, everybody's angry about something, and next you start to feel irritated. You start picking up, you start talking like them, you start thinking like them. You get home, you're yelling at your wife and kids. If you're a mom, you're yelling at your kids because you picked up energy from other sources because you didn't set the boundaries of your own energy field. Okay, so yeah, that's what you do. You use this technique to create a separation to make sure that you are not taking on the energy of other people who are being negative, throwing arrows at you, speaking negativity towards you, telling you you're no good, or because of a certain color of your skin, and they place themselves in hierarchies. You should see what goes up in these workplaces. It's not, I mean, those of you that work there, I really applaud you, because they put people through unnecessary psychological torture just for a paycheck, But anyway, you want to make sure you have a separation object between your auric field and the auric field of the next person. Meditation is very important, so that when you get a suggestion, a thought, an image that is not something you have set for yourself for the day, you're able to say, no thank you, and it goes away. I mean, what I mean by go away is like you don't take that energy or that person or that word, you don't take it to heart, you don't imbibe it, you don't give it a reaction, you don't entertain it, you might not even hear it. Have some of you do this unconsciously, where people will tell you, so and so said something, we thought you were going to be angry, and you're like, they did? I didn't hear it. Yeah, because your energy was really, you put up a good protection field around you, that of course you can't hear that. What do you want to hear that for? Your barrier pushed it away. That's why you didn't hear it. And when everyone waited for your reaction, there was nothing, because people do feed off the energetic reactions of others, whether it be to energetic reaction to beautiful music, to something happy, or to something sad, which is why they all turn and put their cards into you, because they're trying to feed off your reaction. People feed off your reaction for different reasons: to make themselves feel better, to make themselves feel superior, to make themselves feel important, or they're just feeling bad and they really want to resonate at that level of badness with you. So people tap into energies for different reasons, and most people tap into other people's energy fields through the eyes, which is why they all turn and look at you, because they tap into energy field through the eyes. And when you give them that reaction, you have fed them for that day. But with this technique, you won't even hear it. And when you hear it, the reaction or what you will say will be so inspired by spirit that they will be disarmed. There will be nothing left for them to say. You'll be like, well, I'm glad you noticed. How does that make you feel? And leave it there. And when they throw it to you, and you don't give them a very delicious reaction back, there's nothing, this person doesn't give us good reactions, let's just leave her alone, she's boring. She's boring. And then yeah. But some of you, this might work to the point where you I need to find other employment, because sometimes I don't want you to always think that the environment is reacting negatively to you because there's something wrong with you. Sometimes it's a sign that that's not where you should be, that's not what you should be doing. So this is a temporary measure. So you go back to spirit and you do your meditations and figure out where to go next, because you always want to be at a place where all of you are vibing together. If you're a hardworking person that puts out good projects, very positive, very happy to be around, you want to be in an environment that resonates that. You don't want to be in an environment where people are all downers and then they wait for you to do all the hard work and then they get the credit. They get the credit, but you know what I mean. So those are my 2 techniques for you. They are the grounding, running energy, and separation energy technique. Then there is the eggshell technique. It is very important that you tell your energy field what you want it to vibrate at. I want you to vibrate at joy. I want you to vibrate at happiness. This is what I want you to let in. Anything that is not vibrating at the level of happiness, do not come near me. And that's it. You said it for the day. And when you come home, you take down your shield, because if you keep up your shield for too long, you're going to start getting irritated, because you also need to release stuff. You're watching stuff on the internet, you're talking to people in the cafeteria, you're at some level, you might not imbibe the whole thing, but at some level, little apes are here, because you do look people in the eyes all day. So you want to undo your energy shield, you want to do your grounding, but you want to set your grounding cord to release. At the end of the day, set your grounding cord to release, and you do it again the next day, you do it again, you do it all the time. Yeah. Now, if you have any questions about this technique, please feel free to leave me a comment, and I will elaborate further. I'm also working on a video where I want to teach people how to commune with nature. What do I mean by that? Like you can attach an outcome, you can attach an emotional well-being, you can attach a prosperous way of being to the elements in nature. What do I mean? If you're the type that feels limited and stuck, you can say, my creativity, I want to thank source, I want to thank the wind, because my creativity is as free and open as the wind I experience. So you tie it in. So as long as the wind is blowing, as long as the river is flowing, my creativity is flowing. I will put that in a prayer form for us that we can say every morning, and that will really help us to tie in our spiritual practice with our daily life. It doesn't have to be separate. It doesn't have to be, at least not in most African spiritualities. I'm Igbo, so it doesn't have to be separate from your life. Everything you do, you can attach your spirituality into it. Now, you know what I mean? You can go all out and put on everything, but if you're going to work, you want it to be, you want it to just be, you just want to blend, just want it to blend into your everyday life. So what would that look like as a prayer in the morning? I used to participate in the Christian religion, so I do have a version of prayer scriptures that can be put together that Christians can use. If you're also on this path and you're interested in that, just let me know in the comments and I will get that to you. Now, there's a lot more I could have said about this topic today, but I just kept it simple. We all know what workplace bullying is. We know what exclusion is, exclusionary behaviors. We all know what passive aggression is. We all know those tactics that they use at work to tell us that we're not welcome. We all know what that is. And this will really help us. And that plus other techniques that I'll be teaching to help draw closer to yourself what it is that you want to experience in your reality. Thank you, everyone. My name again is Uchenna. If you like this, please give me a like. I post this on all my social media, so I might post, not I might, I will post this on my YouTube, most definitely on Facebook. Facebook, you're my people. Everyone is my people, but for some reason, I just feel like the people on Facebook could use this message, because everyone is like, no, we don't want Facebook. No. I'm like, what are people on Facebook supposed to do? So yeah, so I do have a Facebook, I do have a YouTube, and I do have a small Etsy store. If you're in the market for, you want to get a reading from me, I do have an Etsy store. I am a psychic medium, and I don't need tools, but I could use a tarot card if you're interested. But until next time, guys, keep meditating, keep using your techniques, keep saying your prayers, and if you need my support, I need help, or have any questions, you know where to find me. And until next time, I love you all, and bye bye.